Hi, my name is Madeline and welcome to my watercolor pumpkins tutorial. Today we are going to be doing a very loose ink and wash interpretation of some cute colorful pumpkins. Right here I have my Etcher sketchbook. Inside the sketchbook is 100% cotton. This is actually hot pressed paper, so it's completely smooth. It doesn't have any texture, and it's going to make sketching with my fountain pen a little bit easier. This pen that I'm going to be using today is by the brand TWSBI. It is an extra fine nib. I will show you right here how fine the lines are, and I'm using waterproof ink so that I can do a light wash over the sketch. My style of sketching is very loose. I don't have perfect lines. Actually, my lines are a bit wonky, and I sort of like that. I don't sketch realistically, so I hope you can loosen up with me as we sketch and paint some cute and colorful pumpkins. I'm going to start off with the first pumpkin. I'm going to sketch the stem first, and we're just going to sketch a kind of traditional looking pumpkin. So I started off with the outer shape, and now I'm going to sketch the ridges. And if you have a pen mark that kind of goes out of where you want it, that's okay. We can sort of embrace that. I have a few lines that kind of went a little wonky, and I'm just outlining. And so we're going to do another one right here. And for this one, I want to sort of sketch it a little bit smaller than the one we did initially. And now I'm going to do the ridges. We'll have this one kind of go behind the first one a little bit. Now to sketch a taller pumpkin, I'm going to start with the stem a little bit higher, and we're going to make this one a little bit narrow. I want the pumpkins to sort of touch so that when we do the ink and wash, the colors will bleed together. But like I said, don't worry too much about the actual shape, just sort of go with the flow. I'm going to do a little tiny pumpkin right here, kind of sitting on the second one that we did. The way I'm sketching, I would sort of liken it to how you might sketch with a pencil, how you sometimes can go over the same lines a few times, and I like how the overlapping lines work. So let's do a smaller one right here on the very left side. I like to do the outline first and then sort of do the ridges, and then for that one I didn't have the ridges connect all the way down. And then let's do one last tall one on the right here. Do the stem, and then again I won't have the ridges go all the way down. I'll just sort of stop it at the halfway point. And then let's do another one kind of behind everything right here. Now I'm just sort of taking a step back. I'm looking at my sketch and I'm seeing what details I might want to add. So for this pumpkin in the middle, I want to add some of those, sometimes they have like kind of like green texture along the ridges. So I'm just going to kind of squiggle some lines to sort of signify those pumpkin details. I'm really liking this sketch. So now I'm going to cap my pen and I'm going to do a light wash over this sketch. So I'm going to grab my Polina Bright brush. This is a round 0, and we are going to be painting in a very fun and colorful wash on top of these pumpkin sketches. So for our first pumpkin, let's start off with a more traditional pumpkin color. I'm going to mix some yellow with a little bit of orange to kind of create that squash color. And as I'm doing the wash, I'm not painting the entire pumpkin in. I'm leaving in a little bit of white space, but at the area where it touches the next pumpkin, I'm going to concentrate some color there so that the watercolors will bleed. Now I'm grabbing a really light blue, and again, I'm not coloring in the entire pumpkin. I'm leaving in just a little bit of white space. Now I'm going to add a little bit of a darker blue to get that sort of mixing with the lighter blue that I added to the top. Now for the pumpkin with the little squiggly line textures, I'm going to grab a kind of greenish yellow, kind of like a green gold, and I'm going to paint around the little squiggly textured lines, and then I'm going to drop in some green where the squiggly lines are, and I'm going to let that bleed into the yellow. And again, being mindful of just leaving pockets of white space. For this little tiny pumpkin, I'm going to grab a darker orange color. And then for this larger, taller pumpkin that we have, I think I'm going to use a pink. So I'm going to grab kind of a pale pink, and I'm going to sort of drop in a little bit of red on the right side so that those two colors can mix. And moving on to the last two pumpkins, I think I'm going to grab a darker orange, almost like a red color, and I'm going to mix some of that orange and red together for this pumpkin that we have hiding right here, and I kind of want it to bleed into the pink. And for our very last pumpkin, I'm going to grab some dark blue, almost like an indigo color, and I'm going to drop that in, and I'm going to let it mix with the orange and maybe even the pink too. I'm going to leave some white space and then kind of fill in the bottom. Now I'm going to grab a little bit of brown and I'm going to paint in the pumpkin stems. And I'm kind of hoping that it'll mix in with some of the washes that are still a little bit wet. And then I'm also going to grab just a little bit of dark green, and I'm going to paint kind of like some, I'm not really painting leaves, but giving off the illusion that there are some leaves on some of these pumpkins. And I love how much the watercolors are bleeding into each other. It looks so pretty. I'm going to grab my hot air tool and I'm just going to dry off the watercolors. And now that that's dry, this is our final ink and wash painting in the sketchbook. I love how it came out. I hope you enjoyed sketching and painting with me. If you liked this tutorial, please hit the like button. It's a really small way to help my channel grow. And if you enjoy my content, use the following QR codes to either find me on Patreon or Instagram.